lighten up the show. We're getting a little heavy here, and let's have a long, hard look at Batman. Shall we? The Batman. Oh, fuck. Batman is awesome. Can you believe all the shit he can do? It's incredible. Let's just start this video. I bet I'm going to say just pause in the first 1 second.
Batman is one of the strongest humans around.
What? Stop. Batman is not one of the strongest humans around. He's a drawing. He's not a guy. He was invented for nerds to feel better about themselves, okay? Peter Parker is the ultimate example of superheroes and what they're all about. You get picked on, you get bullied. America feels bad for you. Now we're obsessed with ending bullying, but back in the 50s, it was like, okay, what are we going to do for these poor faggots? I know. We'll give them a fantasy world where you're not shoving me around. Actually, I could kick your ass, but it's a secret. Shh. And then at night, I go flying around the place and I like beat up bad guys. So when you shove me, I just go, whatever, dude. If only you knew who you're shoving. It's a placebo, and we hope it makes them feel better. I come from Britain. We moved to Canada when I was 5, but the comics that I grew up on, I kept reading. My grandfather would send them to me like every month, a big, huge stack of them, mostly the Beano. And Beano took a totally different angle. They were like, be a bully. Fuck them up. There was the main character was Dennis the Menace, invented, I believe, in 1952. At the exact same time, the American Dennis the Menace was invented. And no one knows how that happened. It's a complete mystery. God was feeling lazy that day, and he accidentally gave 2 continents the same idea. So America has their Dennis the Menace, who's kind of a menace, but this guy's like a menace. Like he would destroy shit. And he would fuck with this guy named Walter, who was a softie, a wimp, a nerd, a loser. He liked flowers. And Dennis the Menace would kick the shit out of him. It was awesome. There was another thing called the Bash Street Kids. The Bash Street Kids, a Nazi skinhead band called Screwdriver, did a song about the Bash Street Kids. Holy shit, it's a cartoon?
But it didn't last long.
Cool. Anyway, I'll do a whole other thing on Beano that no one will want to watch, but this has become totally woke now. In fact, Fatty from the Bash Street Kids is now called, I think, Maddie, which is probably going to offend Maddie Odell. But yeah, it's all like East Indian girls now, and they've totally gutted and wokeified Beano. I can't believe Bash Street Kids is a cartoon. I can't wait to watch that. Anyway, so I never got into superheroes as a kid. The fact that adults are into them is brutally embarrassing. It was embarrassing, by the way, that kids were into them. Because you're such a loser that you have to fantasize and pretend you're a super strong guy. The fact that fucking adults are sitting there playing video games where they're Batman. Ooh, I beat up the bad guys. Because I can't beat up bad guys. You want to go beat up bad guys? Join the fucking army, you cunt. You can kill people in the army. You don't have to sit and fantasize. Playing Call of Duty is one of the gayest things imaginable. You're tricking God. You're tricking nature into sending you dopamines because you carried your boys out from the battle in Fallujah. No, you didn't. You pushed plastic buttons. You fucking loser. I mean, it's one thing if you're paralyzed and you want to fantasize about having legs. Okay, I get it. But you're a perfectly capable human being pretending you're in the military. That's stolen valor. And when it comes to this shit, you want to fight someone? Fight him. Go spar. Take a martial art. You can fight all day. Anyway.
But you can't kill. Batman doesn't kill. That's his code.
See, you shouldn't know that.
Well.
He's never killed anyone?
No. And there's some controversial things where in the movies they're like, I think that guy died. And they're like, so, Batman.
I mean, here, now we're getting caught in the semantics of this. My whole point of this is adults should not be discussing the semantics of a coping mechanism designed for 7-year-old boys. So, no, Batman is not the strongest human alive. He's not human. The whole thing about like Superman has powers, but Batman is just a regular guy. He's not a regular guy. He's a totally made up thing. And the reason you find inconsistencies in these fucking cartoons is they're not designed for you. They're designed for kids who don't look for that kind of shit. It's a superhero, you fucking fat neckbeard, sexless, masturbating fiend. Stop jerking off. Stop watching porn. Stop playing video games. Go outside. Open the door. Go outside. Say hello. Try drinking a fucking beer for once. Jesus Christ. I'm not asking you to be Chuck Norris. Just be like, I don't know, a 13-year-old from the 80s. You know, a guy with jeans who would smoke cigarettes and occasionally get in a fist fight. Be a normal man. This is not normal. It's brutally sad. Go ahead.
Completely ridiculous feats that no human would survive, let alone pull off on a daily basis. But exactly
Correct.
how strong is Batman compared to your average human?
He's
The
not
answer
strong. He's a drawing. How strong is this drawing? I don't know. What is the whim of the artist on that particular day?
will give us some incredible insights into the character and lead us to Batman's greatest strength that often goes unnoticed. Batman is one of, if not my favorite superhero.
Oh, wait, that's how that guy defines himself? That little anime thing? Bring that back a second.
Give us some
Oops, I cut
incredible
myself off.
insights into the character and lead us to Batman's greatest strength that often goes unnoticed. Batman is one of...
Stop. That's how he sees himself. As an old lady, midget, child, ninja, Japanese person. This guy's obsessed clearly with strength and weights. So is it possible he's a bodybuilder? Could you lift weights and be this much of a goon? I don't think so, right? Is that possible that you could be? You'd have to have been in a car accident and have some sort of mental damage. And again, all of this work, all of this effort, couldn't you be an engineer or something? Couldn't you be designing transit systems, or can't you be part of society? This is such a waste. This guy has clearly watched thousands of hours of fucking Batman and read hundreds and hundreds of comics. He's probably read 100% of the Batman that there is to offer the world. Jesus Christ. It's a diaper. Superheroes are a diaper for bully victims. You're wearing a diaper as a grown man.
if not my favorite superhero, since he trains himself to do everything he does, and being self-made personifies a human capacity for learning.
Stop. It's not a person. He doesn't personify shit. It personifies the human capacity to what? Kick a tree in half? That's not inspiring. That doesn't make me think, I should be better about my leg days so I can be strong enough to fucking karate kick a tree in half. There's no personifying going on here. You need to be a person to personify something. You poor, sad, fucking incel, loser, gamer, shithead.
Seeing how Batman has learned the equivalent of 12 PhDs worth of knowledge, but
Stop.
it's his...
Seeing how Batman has learned the equivalent of 12 PhDs. That drawing has got 12 PhDs. That's really, isn't that impressive? Hey, guess what? My drawing's more impressive. My drawing has 13 PhDs. Doesn't that personify the ability to learn? 12 PhDs. The guy who has 12 PhDs is fat, has a beard, and is on the spectrum. Maybe you should get 12 PhDs. Your time would be better spent doing that than learning about a fucking drawing.
physical stats that are even more insane when compared to even the greatest lifters and athletes on the planet. To give you
They're more insane. He can lift more than the greatest athletes on the planet. Wow.
an idea of how strong Batman is, Batman has been seen bench pressing unassisted anywhere from 405 pounds when sufficiently distracted to 585 pounds for multiple reps, which is pretty strong, but for
Stop.
reference, the
Did you notice there's a tone of bragging, like Batman's his friend? Like, Batman can bench press upwards of 550 pounds when not sufficiently distracted. How much can you lift, my friend? He's bragging about a drawing now.
current world record for an unassisted bench press
That's a
is
human being.
122 pounds.
Wait, how much is it? Sorry? 722 pounds. That's a human being.
Current world record, 5 pounds from multiple 405 pounds when sufficiently distracted to 585 pounds from multiple reps, which is pretty strong, but for reference, the current world record for an unassisted bench press is 722 pounds, except in Batman issue 655, he is shown benching all the way up to 1,000 pounds, shattering the world record. In
He
Batman
didn't
Odyssey,
shatter the world record. A guy drew a guy lifting weights that no human can lift. That's not an accomplishment, dude. What the fuck is the matter with you? You're not even supposed to notice that, by the way. The guy drawing was probably Google it, went like, what's the world record? 7? Okay, I'll do like 1,000, whatever. I'm drawing a superhero for little kids, right?
See issue 2. Bruce mentions that his maximum leg press is 2,500 pounds as he leg presses a train apart with the
Oh
current
my
world
God, I just
record
had
for
another
leg press.
thought. What if this guy doesn't lift, but he just is a lift buff? Like the way I follow sports and I like the Mets and I see Mad Max pitching and I go, ooh, that's good, 100 miles an hour, meaning I could probably not even throw 60. Is he like that, but with bodybuilding? He just like reads bodybuilding magazines and knows what a good leg press is, but has never done a leg press in his life? That's pathetic.
Being 2,469 pounds, Batman routinely deadlifts 620 pounds for 35 repetitions, which is an insane amount of reps for a person's body to withstand.
Okay, stop. I have to assume this guy lifts weights. I can't do it. I can't sleep tonight if this guy knows this much about weightlifting and doesn't lift weights. It's not a spectator sport, my friend.
In a single training session, along with having held a 1,000-pound ceiling in an overhead press, but way beyond that, Batman
Stop. He held up 1,000-pound ceiling. So this adult male was reading that comic book that day and went, holy shit, that ceiling's like 1,000 pounds. Mom, get in here. Okay, sorry. I forgot it's 2 a.m. Look at all of these stats. What the fuck is this? Did he write this up? How does he know? Is that Batman's daily routine?
is shown to be around 525 pounds for 5 repetitions of 10 sets. That's 50 squats in total, along with clean and jerk lifting 262 pounds 24 times and running 20 miles, averaging 4 minutes and 50 seconds per mile, with an emphasis on cutting off 30 more seconds a mile on his rest day.
So the people who make Batman talked to a trainer and said, can you write up a workout that's like fucking insane? Like, take the best workout you could possibly imagine, then just add like 10, 15% to whatever number you come up with. And they went, okay. Oh, God, he's got thousands of videos about what Batman eats. No, he doesn't.
So strong.
He doesn't
for a
eat
man
anything.
Of his weight class, being 210 pounds, that he routinely benches well over, if not over double, the weight for an elite lifter of his weight class, while squatting around 100 more pounds and deadlifting 40 more pounds.
I didn't know weightlifting was such a huge part of Batman. Is that a thing? Do other superheroes have their workout? There's a lot of data on Batman workouts. And by the way, we're 2 minutes in. All we've been talking about is how much he lifts.
More repetitions than a regular man dare would. This isn't to say that Batman doesn't have his limits. In the storyline Venom, after failing to save a little girl from drowning...
Can you imagine knowing this much about fucking Batman? You know, you realize little kids don't know this, right? Like the little kid who's Batman is his favorite superhero and he's like 8, 9. He sees Batman lift 1,000 pounds and then that's gone from his brain. He forgets. This fucking dork is writing it down. And going, wow, that's more than he lifted in the Venom plot line.
Batman then began pushing himself to be able to handle heavier weights.
There's a drawing of a guy pushing himself.
Him failing to deadlift 630 pounds. But what's far more impressive is the physical feats that Batman has strengthened his body to accomplish, ranging from achievements that professional athletes could accomplish, all the way to something that only Batman himself is strong enough to do. Batman has literally ripped the door off of a speeding airplane.
Talk about misuse of the word literally. It's a cool thing to draw, and it's a cool thing to look at, a guy standing on a plane. That looks awesome. And if I was 9, I'd go, yeah. In order to facilitate that, you have to have the guy defy physics and kick the door out. Not remotely possible. In fact, if you're on a plane and you see someone trying to open the door, just go, huh, got a crazy guy on the fucking plane. Be perfectly calm. It's fucking impossible. This guy sees Batman do that, and then he Googles it, and he's like, that's fucking, whatever it is, 10,000 pounds of pressure you need. He's really strong. This guy is sitting here doing a video about how strong a drawing is. I'm maybe even worse for talking about this guy doing a video on how strong a drawing is. Maybe I'm worse than this fucking loser.
Plane in mid-flight, which takes more than 24,000 pounds of pressure or 12 tons of pulling force, and is the equivalent of being able to pull the weight of 6 cars or 20 polar bears at once. Batman has
20
lifted
polar
giants
bears?
like
Where do you get these metrics from? How strong are you? How strong am I? I could pull 20 polar bears or 6 cars. You name it. Oh, how many black bears can you tow? Less. They're heavier. No, they're not. I'm not as funny when I'm starving to death. Who's this fucking fake guy now? Can he beat up that guy? Whoa. You must be strong to beat up that big, huge guy. This is like a dude with a high IQ who's also special. He's like a brilliant retard. Go ahead.
Who weigh over 500 pounds up over his head with one arm. He has been known to stop speeding cars using just his strength alone, and even held up the entire Batmobile from falling off a bridge in 2004's The Batman. Insanely, he has worked out by dangling off the edge of a skyscraper.
Hold on a sec. Can you believe he did that? That's dangerous. That drawing could have fallen down and hurt himself. That's insane. This drawing is insane. What does a car weigh, Ryan? Whoa. I thought he could only bench press 1,000 pounds. Now he's doing twice as much as the top weightlifter in the universe. That was insane. Wasn't it insane when that drawing did that? So he's sitting looking at the comic. He sees the guy doing pull-ups at the edge of a skyscraper, and he goes, dude, take it down a notch. I mean, humans have done that. Go look at people do that. What are you doing? Looking at his fucking wet nipples, you fag.
One-armed pull-ups in 137-degree heat. Has held open a crocodile's mouth, with crocodiles having the strongest bite ever measured at 3,700.
Is there an Excel spreadsheet with all of this as he goes through, or does he just remember that he opened up a crocodile's mouth? Because if you notice, the footage goes from video games to comic books to like shitty Saturday morning cartoons that are done in Flash. I haven't seen any Batman movies. Do those count? Are those Batman to you, dude?
Pounds per square inch, or 16,460 newtons, Batman has trained to be able to not only kick and thus explode entire trees in half, but as infamously analyzed in my previous Batman video, has moved so fast to outright dodge bullets that his body...
Jesus Christ, he's dodging bullets like fucking the Matrix. You know, the reason you can kick a tree in half in a kid's comic is the kids don't really get physics. So they're like, I don't know, maybe it was like a dead tree. I don't know. Maybe you could kick a tree in half. And the artists take advantage of that, and they come up with these fantastical things. Then you get older, and you go, why do you kick a tree in half? That's retarded. This is a stupid thing I'm looking at. And, of course, it is very sad, fucking pathetic, that American movies, we get one every 6 months or so. There should be one a day. All of LA is 100% devoted to making movies, and you give us one a month, basically. And the majority of them are just fucking superhero garbage. And that's embarrassing. We of course, are deeply embarrassed of our president, Stammering Joe, but we should also be ashamed of our Hollywood, of our movie industry. Grown adults. I was at Black Panther. I brought my kids. You're allowed to bring kids to these things. And you know, when he gets, I don't know, he gets sick or some shit, or he almost dies by that waterfall. There are 2 adult women behind me who came to see it were crying. They were sad. that the drawing was dying. What if this guy would cry? We should just fucking kill Batman just to make him cry like a little bitch. Dude, Batman's dead. What? He personifies everything that's good about living. He's dead. They're not drawing him anymore. Ha ha. That might be the only way to save this poor bastard.
Accelerate at and withstand
Remember they
upwards
tried to do that to
800
Pepe the Frog? The guy who made Pepe was so embarrassed and hated the right so much that he drew a comic where Pepe died. Like everyone is going to go, oh, fuck! I can't get into Pepe anymore. The god of Pepe killed him. I'm 9. What a retarded gesture that was. What's that? What is that? Memes killing memes? No, he drew a comic of Pepe dying. Anyway.
145 times Earth's gravity, with astronauts commonly experiencing only 3 Gs during a rocket launch. But as cleverly pointed out by this community, Batman commonly dodges bullet fire by analyzing body movements and predicting when a trigger is about to be pulled, setting his acceleration to somewhere around 5 Gs.
Wait a minute.
Except
There's
in the
a whole community of these people analyzing this crap? That's fucking profoundly sad. Getting into... I got an idea. If you want to get into the physics of artillery, why don't you get into the physics of artillery? Why don't you look up ballistics? Why don't you get involved in the ballistics industry? Why don't you go to the shooting range? Why don't you learn about fucking real guns and then tell me about them because I'm a New Yorker and I don't know shit. What a waste of knowledge this is.
You know he argues with people over this too, right?
Oh, yeah. All night. It's the only time you see him animated. Like his parents are worried about him because he's 26, 27, and he still lives at home. And they mostly just look at him on the computer and stuff. But then when he's arguing with people about Superman on like while playing video games, it's like someone put a quarter in him. He just comes to life. And his dad is like, well, it's the only time I see him like living. So, yeah, I guess I'm for it. You're breaking your father's heart right now.
The Red Hood.
You're shooting your brother in the your father in the heart. You're cutting out mommy's heart. Snip, snip, snip.
You see Batman move after a bullet is fired from a gun towards him, but far more absurd is how strong...
Stop. So, wait, is he in drag there? So, they see him dodging bullets, and they go, fuck, that's kind of not possible. Then the community goes, actually, he sees the body language of the guy going like that, so that's why he knows where the bullet's going. And then they go, oh, okay, good. I can continue with my delusion that this is not just a fucking drawing.
Batman's body is at taking punishment.
Well, he can even beat up a chick?
In Batman issue 15, he takes a direct blast from a bazooka and keeps fighting unfazed. Batman has been thrown and punched through concrete walls many times and even took a fall off Wayne Tower, falling multiple stories, but walked away each time. He's even survived being shot point blank by a frickin' tank, set on fire, electrocuted, frozen, and is strong enough to survive in Krypton's gravity, which has been depicted to be anywhere from 30 to 100 times greater than that of Earth's, which is all the more insane.
Wait a minute. Now he's talking. Wait. What the fucking shit? What planet was he on? Go back.
Frozen and is strong enough to survive in Krypton's gravity, which
Krypton. So wait a minute. Now he's seeing a guy on another planet, and he's going, "This guy lives a made-up planet, a fake planet. It's Superman's planet, right?" So he's going, You're not going to fucking believe this, but this drawing I like went to a drawing of a fake planet, and he was fine. And this fake planet has fake gravity, and he was fine with that fake gravity. Can you believe this shit? He's strong. I 100% guarantee you that if you showed this to the Batman writers, they'd go, Jesus fucking. Hey, could I talk to you? Yeah. You wrote Batman 15, right? Yeah, I needed to pay the rent. It's fast, cheap, and easy money. How come he survived the bazooka blast? Was part of his suit asbestos? Like, dude, I don't know. It's a fucking kid's comic. Yeah, he had a magic suit that day. Fucking, you leave me alone.
has been depicted to be anywhere from 30 to 100 times greater than that of Earth's, which is all
that
the
him on
more
Krypton
insane
right
when
there?
you
Is
realize that
Krypton
while
cold?
human bones can take
I like how he can survive 300 times the gravity of Earth, but when he goes there, he needs a woolly hat because it's cold.
up to 90 times Earth's gravity, they can only withstand 10 times Earth's gravity when the person begins moving around. Not to mention your muscles would most likely not be strong enough to move you anyways, as Batman, who weighs 210 pounds, would have
No,
to
he
squat
doesn't. He's back to lifting weights again? I didn't know Batman was so big on weights.
the
That's good, I guess. They're getting young people to work out.
And unless he's doing a dynamic start, his that bar is way too far from his shins. Bad form, Batman.
Bad form, Batman.
equivalent
That
of
drawing is not drawing right.
6,300 or 21,000
By the
pounds.
way, this is kind of a side note. I always thought it was kind of gay the way superhero artists know all your lats and all the muscles. Like they sit there perfectly drawing perfectly sculpted muscles all day.
Hold on a fucking sec. Why does he have those clamp rings on the inside of the weight? That doesn't make sense.
Well, maybe he has them on both. He doesn't want them sliding either way.
They can't slide any farther. There's a collar.
Uh-oh.
There's somebody
You should
drawing
do a
this.
video, Ryan.
Yeah. So the animator fucking doesn't know how weights work.
To stand up from a chair. But even more impressive is just how strong Batman's mind is. Batman issue 52, he is shown to have stumbled upon a sub-zero waterfall where he promptly undressed and stood underneath it completely unfazed. Or in Batman volume 2 issue 23, at the age of 24, he was able to fight for 28 hours straight in a never-ending gauntlet of opponents. Where
Dude, when you're writing a superhero comic book for lonely nerds that get bullied, you take a situation and you totally exaggerate it because it's a fantasy. And you're sitting here going, this fantasy is fantastic. Yeah. I mean, if I'm walking by a comic book, I go, yeah, that's probably full of like crazy shit, like a guy fighting for 28 hours, and kids like that shit. Anyway, pathetic.
the fight only ended because Batman's will to never give up was enough to deter any more fighters from entering the contest. His IQ is stated to be a 13th level intellect, or what is about 200 IQ points, putting him above Stephen Hawking and Albert Einstein, whose IQs are estimated to be between 160 and 180.
Like, when do we end this? Of course. What do you think he's going to be, dumb? He's a superhero. Kids are reading about him. Is he going to be mediocre? Is he going to be able to lift like 140 pounds and have an IQ of like 105 and be okay at fighting? That actually would be a funny superhero comic. I guess they already did that with that Kick-Ass or whatever shit. Robin's the skinhead now?
In the 8 languages and 127 martial arts styles he's mastered, more believable, if not just a bit more. But what really shows just how mentally and physically strong Batman is a story that came to a climax in Batman issue 681, where Bruce hadn't slept for days and found himself
shit.
trapped underground in a coffin while wearing a straitjacket that also had multiple locks on it, with about 30
How's he going to
minutes
get out of that?
left.
He
As
better
I
be good at getting out of law. He must be so tired. He was up for days, this drawing.
mentioned in an older video,
Does
about
this
him
guy think Batman's real? Is it like those guys who believe wrestling, and if you tell them wrestling's fake, they want to fight you? Hey, buddy, Batman's not real. It's a drawing for kids.
much less detail. Bruce then flashbacks
Santa
to
Claus
his time
manages to travel the entire world, Western world, Christians mostly, in one night. The amount of presents he has is estimated to weigh 6,042 tons. He travels at over 7,000 miles an hour, visiting a total of 16 million homes. He's amazing. He's my favorite Christmas guy.
and Nanda Parbat, where in order to completely hunt down and destroy any fears that were left in his mind, he underwent the Thogul ritual, which was an extremely dangerous form of meditation derived from a Tibetan tradition that few had ever completed, where one is isolated in a cave for 49 days, and in Batman's case, a large boulder was placed in front of the
like
entrance,
Jesus.
where one simulates their death over and over, leading to their eventual liberation from death and rebirth. After completing the ritual, Batman remembers
Did he
a
eat in there?
with a monk where he expressed that in order to protect his consciousness, he realized he could create a second personality as a backup. The monk replied that Bruce was remarkable and expressed sorrow at having poisoned the tea he was drinking.
Jesus, Lord in heaven above. Excuse me, my blasphemy. So this guy is impressed. He's talking about Batman's mental strength. We're giving up. We're done with the weightlifting. And now his mental strength is so amazing that when one personality got overwhelmed, he made another guy. And now he's, in a sense, he's twice as strong mentally, right? You could fucking dump Batman A and Batman B would be like, oh, fuck, she was a bitch anyway, dude. Don't worry about it. How mentally strong can you get? This is, I'm just going to say this right now. Out of all the drawings I've ever seen, this drawing is the most mentally strong drawing I've ever seen. I'm not mentally strong. I can't even say the words mentally strong.
And chuckled that he had 2 minutes left to live. Unfortunately for the monk, Bruce mentioned that not only had he inoculated himself against most toxins, but as a habit, he had also switched the monk's cup of tea and his own in the time that it took for the monk to blink. And Bruce had also held an antidote that neutralized the effects of any toxin that he wasn't resistant to. The average human eye blink lasts around 1/10 of a second or 100 milliseconds, meaning that Batman, assuming he had to reach anywhere from 1 to 3 feet in front of him, would have to move his hands anywhere from 6.8 to over 20 miles per hour to barely make it unnoticed, which may not sound very impressive until we look at the reaction time required to time the monk's blink, as the best athletes' reaction times are usually between 120 and 160 milliseconds, with the world record being 101 milliseconds being too slow, making Batman
Wait a minute,
easily
we have a new superhero. It's this fucking guy. Talk about mentally strong. You're breaking down the physics of a blink? I'm lost now. This just went whoosh. He's now analyzing some fucking blink fight with a monk and how many milliseconds it takes to close your fucking eyes. I guarantee you the creators of this scene he's talking about are like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Have the best reaction time of any human. After this, we then see Batman, while having a concoction of drugs and Joker venom running through his system, bench press a heavy pine coffin lid through an additional 600 pounds of soil in a rainstorm. And it's looking at just how strong Batman is that gives us the great.
How does he know it's 600 pounds of soil? That must have taken a lot of research, a lot of work, to figure out exactly when you push up a coffin, how deep you are and how much weight you're actually lifting. You're not lifting the soil over here or the soil over here. It's a strange sort of diameter you have to figure out. Oh, my God. He's so strong. By the way, no mention of the fact that Batman has a mask on during all this shit. That's fucking impressive, too. I never quite understood the Ku Klux Klan. Is it the Ku Klux Klan? The KKK. With those, how does the little eyes stay matched? You know, I understand a balaclava where it's snug against your face, but those masks, those pointy hats look pretty loose. And this guy's got, I assume, some sort of plastic thing, maybe rubber around his head. That's pretty impressive. Mention that, fatso.
Greatest strength of this character. Looking at the grueling training that Batman pushes himself through is what makes him my favorite.
I need to see what this man looks like. And I need to see his bedroom. Please, someone out there, help.
He acquired his strength and skill through pure effort and training. He doesn't need a suit of armor or powers to be a complete monster. And this leads us to Batman's greatest strength. After years of traveling the world, educating himself under men that money...
But first, by the way, who is Batman? Like the 50s guy, Adam West. Is that Batman? Are you impressed with him? What about George Clooney? What about, who was the least Batman-y guy? Michael Keaton. Is he Batman? Like, is there a Batman that you're focused in on? I notice you're only using certain comic books and a video game and a cartoon. Have you honed in on that Batman? That's Batman? What are the others? Are they fictional? Does he hate Adam West? Because Adam West... If you watch the old cartoon, or not cartoons, you watch the old show, he could probably lift about 50 pounds. He doesn't have 12 PhDs. I think he has a high school diploma.
by the greatest strength and genius of Batman is that it pretends to be realistic. Batman is absolutely insane and sometimes
Stop. It pretends to be realistic? Says who? It doesn't pretend to be remotely realistic. Have you watched the past 8 minutes of your video? Not one thing you've shown has been remotely realistic. He picked up a car. He held up a 1,000-pound roof. He has 12 PhDs. He locks himself in a cave for 49 days, putting Jesus Christ to shame. That's realistic to you?
completely ridiculous, but the character has grown to be
sorry,
a symbol
just go
for
back
how
there.
Batman
I
is
can't
that
believe someone this ridiculous is saying the words completely ridiculous.
it pretends to be realistic. Batman is absolutely insane and sometimes completely ridiculous, but the character has grown to be a symbol for how far you can push yourself, both
No.
mentally and physically, as often.
No. That's not what superheroes are not meant to inspire you. What is he inspiring me to do? Go out at night in a fucking costume and beat up bad guys? No one wants that. No one expects that. It's a fantasy for skinny losers.
Oftentimes, people fall short of the willingness to do what's necessary to obtain their goals, which is where the story of one incredibly determined man comes in, serving as a widespread example of how much your brain and body is capable of
Dude,
learning if you...
Stop using your brain and body to analyze kids' stories. Go use your brain and your body. You like the sword fight scenes? Go take sword fighting. You like the martial arts? Take jiu-jitsu. You can do all of this shit. You don't have to get stuck in a kid's fantasy analyzing the fucking mathematics and physics and numerics of all this made-up shit where the guy who made it up isn't even paying attention. This is what drives me nuts about all this video games and superhero movies and drawing worship. People are, it's almost blasphemous. Like God gives you this ability to go out and experience life and you get stuck in the fucking matrix. You get stuck in a drawing. You get stuck in the fucking, what does Zuckerberg call it? The meta. Get out of the meta. Get onto the streets.
dare to put in the effort to reach your goals. But if none of this was enough to convince you that Batman is a symbol of true human potential, then I saved my best piece of evidence for last.
Let's
the
hear it.
human nervous system
The
is
smoking
incredible
gun coming up.
at learning and adapting to whatever you do, and in order to maximize
Wait, who was that?
his time,
Wait a minute. They just showed, what's his name?
at
Ben
learning and
Affleck.
adapting to whatever you
Right?
do.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the movies count. So all the movies count, all the video games, all the comic books. I think everything but Adam West. Is that what we're doing here? Is that Superman? Batman?
In order to maximize his time, Bruce has pushed his nervous system to get used to polyphasic sleeping, where like Leonardo da Vinci, he only takes short naps throughout the day, sometimes lasting...
Yeah, you know what that's called? Being a Chinese guy. Chinese people play fucking mahjong and cards all night drinking tea, and they're so exhausted the next day that they take cat naps everywhere. It's just the culture of 1 billion people. I'm not impressed, Batman.
5 minutes to 1 hour.
How pathetic are you? The most impressive part of this, the most smoking gun of how awesome this drawing is that it naps. Ooh, I'm scared. You're almost as deadly as a fucking doctor in their first internship. What's it called? What doctors do? Whatever, that thing where they work 24 hours at the beginning of the hospital.
Has gotten his body used to going 80 hours with no sleep. Watch this video if you want to see
like
how
a meth
hard
head?
Batman can punch.
All right, that's
and
enough.
subscribe if
I
you
sort
love
of summarized it towards the end there at about 20 seconds ago. Get out of the meta, get onto the streets. All of these things that you love looking at can be yours. God gave you a gift. The only person who could get away with this shit would be some cripple like Crip Daddy. And what does he do? He makes fun of losers like this. Jesus.
Make a difference, I know. Too high, too low, but the system won't go. Too high, too low, it doesn't make a difference, I know. Too high, too low, but the system.
Gotta stop saying Jesus all the time. Taking the Lord's name in vain.
It's really tough. We've been programmed to use that as basically an expletive.